Both machines leave it.
Yeah, this one client, she's just a wonderful woman. She came up and she's always so hyper and all that stuff. And she's like, you know, she said, you're just a fascinating, brilliant young lady. She said, what's your name? And I was like, it's on the receipt. And she looked on the receipt. And she said, that's a guy's name. I'm like, yeah.
My parents hated me.
I'm like, yeah, that is kind of awkward. But at that time, that was my driver's license and all that. But when I got my legal name changed, I mean, it was done. I mean, I forgot my last, my old name all of a sudden. And yeah, my birth certificate now says Tabitha Kaylee Hawk on it. And yeah, my parents aren't that happy about that. But the name is a very powerful thing. When people ask, well, I've never actually been asked that, what was your real name? Because I hope they wouldn't know that I'm trans to begin with. But if I am asked, I would probably just say, here's my driver's license. What does it read? Tabitha Kaylee Hawk. There you go. I've tried to find out. I'm like, the only place that Williamson County is where I got the name changed. Go to them, ask them what my old name was. Good luck trying to find it.
Because the courthouse burned down twice.
Yes.
Is it really like that? I don't know. I've worked at like a million places, not a million places, but I don't know. Like I mean, last week my name tag said Max Wellington, the 14th or something. Like I don't understand. Like, could you not just have told them like, okay, I want to wear a different name, like, or is it like, because you can corporate stuff like that.
It's corporate. Just the word corporate.
It was.
I just like completely bypass all this stuff. Like, I just go into the office and make a new name tag because I feel like maybe something different that day.
That's a good point. They didn't change it to, I went with a legal name change, and they were like, well, about time. And I was like, well, gee, that was painless. And so actually I had a really easy thing. They were like, just print out a name tag that said Tabitha on there, and all the customers were like, oh, you've been waiting. And I'm like, oh, gee, I kind of thought like, it's like, I guess in my case I transitioned too slowly. I started being ma'am like after like 3 weeks on hormones.
Yeah, you should have moved the process.
Yeah, I waited 13 months to go full time. I was basically I waited so long I was freaking people out. They were like, "You're a girl," and like I'm getting hit on. Guys are like trying to give me their numbers, and I'm like, "Oh crap."
I'm Ted.
Yeah. But my middle name was, my dad is real upset because my middle name was his name, Edward. I was like, do I look like an Edward?
You're not that sparkly.
Stir it.
Yeah.
If you notice, most trans people have a sense of humor because we have to laugh at ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to, or you'll go crazy. Or maybe you go crazy, and that's why you laugh at yourself.
People, like, I've gotten that before. What's your real name? And I'm like, James. And they're like, no, but what's your real name? And I'm like, James. What's your middle name? Vincent. What is it? So, I mean, it's just like the notion that people automatically, when they find out you're trans, it's like they're trying to like get it out of you that you really aren't what you're presenting, and it just always makes me like. There's this video by Calpurnia Adams, and she just gets so like, she has this video of like questions not to ask transsexual people, and she's just extremely sarcastic about it, and she's just a bitch basically about it. So it's
Calpurnia is awesome.
But it's like, I don't have my name legally changed yet, so it makes it really hard for me to like make doctor's appointments because it's just awkward for me to say it out loud. I don't say it out loud. If someone else says it out loud, who happens to know, I'm like, dude, don't say it again. Like I'll hit them and be like, dude, that's like the worst cuss word ever. Like kittens die. Like,
wow, that's an interesting name.
It's just because like I just don't identify with it. I had to let that person go, when I came out and I changed, and I decided to start going by James. And so it's just that you know, like Aiden was saying, it's like some people, you know, stay in that trans thing, but, you know, other people try to like separate from themselves, and that's my, what, you know, I don't identify femaleness, no.
One of you two was the next.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about your political activism and what's motivated you to be involved in like what organizations you're involved in.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
I'm involved with something called 1 in Teen, which is a GLBT youth organization. And we've been around since 1989.
Raise the breasts.
No, I have a 1 in Teen shirt on.
Because you're like,
Do a twirl, man. Do a twirl.
Hey.
thank you.
Representing.
Mr. Jamie.
This girl, she now knows that I'm trans. She said, "You're bigger than me." I go, "Yes."
I had trans people smack me for being bigger than them. I don't like that.
Sorry. Go
Back to
ahead.
political
Get back to
stuff.
political. Sorry.
But yeah, we're involved with a lot of other, like we're a nonprofit and we're involved with a lot of other organizations in the LGBT community in Nashville, like Nashville Cares, and you know Out Central and stuff like that. And we help them out and they help us out. We're like a basically like a youth support group, you know, for you know people ages like 13 to 22. And we just do a lot of stuff with the community. And I'm also involved with something called like Impact Equality, and like we haven't like really had anything organized lately, but we helped organize the protest, you know, against Prop 8.
Last year I remember 50.
Yeah, and that was really cool for me because I'd never been to like a real protest, and it was really like invigorating, and I was like woo, you know. So, I'm you know even when I transition and stuff, I'm still going to be involved with GLBT activism and trans activism and making people aware, because it's important for people to be educated. And yeah.
So enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'm a scaredy cat. I actually do zero political activism because I'm afraid of people knowing that I'm trans. Because the whole thing was to get psychologically moving beyond the trans, and when I went full time, I'm just a girl, you know, wanting to date a single guy. So being politically activated to me meant reminding myself of all the crap I had to go through. And to me, that's why I've never done this before. Like being on a panel, I just thought it would be cool because I went to school here. But, yeah.
You've done
But I've done nothing in political thing, but I support people that do that. I'm just, in my case, I'm completely afraid of having my name and picture broadcast around the world as trans, and a lot of my clients be like, "Hey, that girl works on my computer," and I'd be like,
Oh my God.
"Yeah."
You downloaded the trans virus.
That's the evil T-virus.
All their pictures will be switched. It's going to be terrible. Like wedding pictures.
But yeah, I do struggle with that because sometimes I struggle with being involved with anything GLBT and just being strictly straight. But then I sometimes feel like I'm leaving my friends behind. So it's a tension. There's tension there. I really don't know where I'm going to go with that throughout my life. But that's a great question.
Let's see, growing up in a military household, my dad is hardcore Orange County Republican. My mom says she's a Democrat, but that's kind of amusing coming from her, because she's like, Prop 8 will lead us to hell. And I'm like, wow, that's a very democratic point of view. I, on the other hand, am one of those weird Democrats who believe that a well-funded and well-trained army is a good thing to have. Being raised in the military and having been in the military myself, it kind of makes sense to me. Activism-wise, I'm involved, as I said, in the Transgender American Veterans Association.